They did it. DC finally did it.
Eh? Hey there guys, this is Sam
And Justin.
at the Survival Review, and today we are going to be talking about the fourth film in the DC Extended Universe.
And this is going to be a very interesting review. Because as you can tell by that intro, I really like this movie.
I thought it was, I don't know, I guess it was okay.
I mean, of course, going into this, there wasn't much anticipation.
No.
Because I wanted to be anticipated for it, but I couldn't be because of last year.
Yes.
Last year kind of took all my anticipation for anything DC related down to like 0. So that even though the trailers looked good for Wonder Woman, I was still like, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
And this isn't saying much, but this is easily the best out of the movies in the DC Extended Universe.
I agree to that.
Now,
Again, not saying much.
and I'm perfectly honest, I actually do enjoy Man of Steel. Like, I know I'm waiting for all the angry comments about that. I do enjoy it. It's heavily flawed. Don't watch our review of it when we first saw it, because we totally bought into the hype and praised the hell out of that movie.
How old were we though?
I don't know. That was in 2013, so that was a while ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. It's
Yeah.
not that long, but
It was a while ago for us, and like we praised the hell of it. We don't like it that much nearly anymore. Before Wonder Woman, I thought it was the best out of the 3 films, but Wonder Woman is 10 times better than Man of Steel, and is actually, in my opinion, a very good movie.
It's fine.
So the movie is about Wonder Woman and her home world, her home island, basically, where she lives with all these women, all these Amazonian women. Basically just live all by themselves, there's no men, and they are always trained to fight for the impending attack of Ares, which might come whenever, you never really know. But at some point in time, an American pilot, Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, crashes through the barrier into their world, basically.
Which is really, it's a terrible barrier. It doesn't stop shit from getting in there. It's really just a cloaking device more than a barrier.
So Wonder Woman meets up with Steve Trevor, she saves him from drowning, and he reveals that he's a spy in the middle of World War I. And Wonder Woman is very naive, and she is led to believe that the man behind the war and everything is Ares. So she goes with Chris Pine to London to go fight the war, basically, and defeat Ares. So, where do we begin on this? Because I want to start out with what works, even though I know a lot of it might not work for you.
Okay.
I really like the cast a whole lot.
For the most part, I agree.
Gal Gadot, I'm not saying she's great or she's the most amazing, like, best cast comic book character ever. I thought she was really good and a lot better than I expected of her going into this movie.
She worked well enough in the role. She was, her line delivery is kind of shit still.
Yeah, her line delivery is off, but I think what works is her expressions, her facial expression, her reactions that really sell, like, the emotions in all the scenes.
Most of it, to me, just felt like sort of like a, oh, she's wide-eyed, and it didn't do much for me. She's not bad, she's just, to me, she didn't bring anything special to the role. I get the feeling that most of her, like, decent performance was coming from a decent director. And at the moment she's being directed by Zack Snyder again, she's going to be completely garbage.
Chris Pine as Steve Trevor is awesome. He has great line delivery, great comedic line delivery, and I buy him in all the serious stuff too. Like, I feel like Chris Pine has really improved over the years as an actor. Like, he was good in the first Star Trek, but, like, you know, it wasn't, like, amazing. He didn't steal the show, but he's definitely gotten better with movies like Hell or High Water.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, even this, I thought there's a lot of great dramatic moments, especially one dramatic moment with him near the end that I thought was very expertly acted that I can't go into due to spoilers. But yeah, I thought he was great, and his chemistry with Gal Gadot was actually pretty good. I like that.
I liked Ewan Brunner as the drunk sniper. Just like that guy. So.
Yeah, he was good. He was a lot of fun.
The issue for me is that they didn't really, I don't know, they did some stuff with the characters. They had a couple little
There was
scenes,
a bit. But actually, what a lot of the stuff that, because this is a movie people are going to compare it to, a lot of the stuff that Captain America, the first Avenger, like, faltered on, I think this improves upon. Like, I'm not saying that the team that Chris Pine's character is with in the movie was the best or anything, but I cared about them more than I cared about, like, Captain America's team in the first Avenger. And even, like, I cared about them more than I cared about Bucky in the first Captain America. And I like that. And actually, I really liked the World War One setting. I thought it was done very well. Again, I thought it done way better than Captain America. And it actually felt like a war movie at times. Like, there's really good scenes of that, like them strategizing what they're gonna do and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I don't want a war movie in my superhero movie. You know,
That's fine. I don't mind it. I think it works because like it works with Wonder Woman's story and how she's coming into she's a fish out of water in this world. And speaking of that, there's a lot of fish out of water humor
that's like all the humor.
Yeah, that is basically, but it's not laugh out loud humor. But I actually like the humor in this movie. It's better than any humor in any of the other DC movies.
So the way I felt about the humor is it never made me laugh, but it never really made me roll my eyes too much.
I felt all the humor. It never really made me like laugh out loud. I think I chuckled at some stuff, but it was very charming.
There were a couple, I couldn't name them, but there were at least one or two moments where I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, it was all charming humor. It wasn't like, oh my god, that joke is hilarious and I'm going to remember that from the rest of my life. It was just charming stuff.
Yep, that's not going to work. Please put the sword down.
And it at least wasn't hitting you over the head with jokes in every scene like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, but at least that movie did make me laugh.
Yeah, but that still would annoy the hell out of me. That it does that. I'm just saying.
Okay. I agree that movie did do that.
Yeah. Until you get to the third act. Visually, this movie is so much better than the other DC movies. When you're actually on Wonder Woman's homeworld and all that stuff, stuff is beautiful to look at.
That stuff looks nice. As soon as they leave that place, everything is dark and dreary like every.
But it made sense though, because
it makes sense in the wartime, but
it's not like bad color grading like in Man of Steel, where it's just like the coloring of that movie just looks like crap.
Yes, but it still sort of has that bad color grade because it fit the setting, but it's still that bad color grading.
Not to me. I thought it was perfectly fine.
It wasn't as bad as like in Man of Steel. It was a little bit better, but
I didn't mind. I thought I liked the visual style of the movie. Is great. I like the action scenes for the most part. They're not as a lot of them are not as amazing as I feel they could have been, except for one standout action scene that I thought was just flat out phenomenal, which is the No Man's Land scene.
I thought that was fine.
I thought it was great. I love that scene. I love the music in that scene, just the build up. I thought it was great.
It didn't do much for me, and the action in general in this movie, it was one of the weaker things in the film for me. It was. There was a lot of the Zack Snyder-y slow down, speed up.
There's a lot of slow-mo that I thought was unnecessary. I liked it in the No Man's Land scene where it's like introducing her and she's walking up the steps. Because slow motion makes sense for something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of moments
where it's overused.
Not in that scene. But in every other scene, there's a lot of unnecessary slow-mo that could have been reduced that we didn't really need. And even though the movie does have like a serious tone with the war and everything, I love the hopefulness of this movie. Like the hopeful tone and vibe that this movie has. Like, even in the wartime stuff, you just got this, like, good sense of hope, which is something that we haven't had in a DC movie. Sadly, we didn't even have that in the friggin' Superman movie. This war movie is more hopeful than a friggin' Superman movie, which is really sad. Yeah, I like Wonder Woman's naiveness and how she's basically like Christopher Reeve's Superman, where she just, like, wants to keep doing good.
Closer than the actual Superman.
Yeah, her character in this is what
but
Superman...
she's not...
No, she's not, like, up there, but I'm saying, like, her character in this movie is more in line to what Superman should have been in the Superman movies. That's what I mean. Like, I love her hopefulness, and I love, like, her naiveness and how she always wants to just save people and isn't, like, moping around because the news doesn't like her. So, going to the flaws, or my flaws, we agree on a lot of, like, the major flaws with the film.
Yes.
And that is the third act, without getting into it, is not as good as it should have been.
It's stupid.
Yeah, basically it does falter in the same thing as like Batman vs Superman did, where it's a nighttime fight scene, so it's really kind of muddy and murky. You can still make out what's going on better than Batman vs Superman, but it's still muddy and murky, and I'm like, really? I thought it would be like everything else was daytime. Can you at least make that scene daytime? And then like you do see Ares at the end, because he is the main villain of this movie. And it's like, this is Ares, the god of war. They really build him up. He's okay. He's just kind of there.
He's underwhelming.
He's as threatening or as big of a deal as a Marvel villain. Which Marvel villains tend to suck, and it's basically like a Marvel villain. And it's like,
There's a lot of
Ares.
comparisons you can make to this movie and Marvel movies. They're basically trying to sort of, with this movie, get that sort of Marvel format.
It is, but I still feel like it's good enough on its own because, like, I feel like if this was a Marvel movie, every scene would have a joke.
Yes, probably.
And there's really not that, which is good. It's a good kind of in between of a DC movie and a Marvel movie. I feel like, and the ending with Ares just. Like, Ares could have been so much more badass than he was in that ending.
It was really stupid.
There's some dodgy CGI, especially with the CGI doubles. There's a lot of time where Wonder Woman turns into a CGI double and is jumping around, and it's really obvious. Or even that awkward CGI Amazonian warrior gets shot by the bullet in slow-mo. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
And that was like really like, geez, I can tell that's not a real human being. So there's a couple of those CGI moments that don't exactly work. There's a shot that that was trying to be like the really badass wraparound shot of her using her lasso against all the bad guys. That was like really cartoony looking. So it didn't work. Also, there's a bookend to the movie that I didn't really feel was necessary.
I thought that was dumb.
It wasn't. There's stuff to it that was awful, but like it was.
It's their way of kind of connecting it back to the universe and Bruce Wayne and all that.
But like it was unnecessary. Didn't really need to be there. But that being said, like after all those flaws, I really liked the movie. I thought it was a very genuine movie. I liked all the characters. I thought for the main characters, the character development was good. Like Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's relationship, I thought was really good. I bought all that. I really liked those two characters, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I had a blast with this movie.
I thought it was all fine enough, and it's basically it rode the line of being just good enough to not like offend the senses. It doesn't overwhelm you with like ridiculous action like Man of Steel or something like that.
And it's not a groundbreaking movie. It's not a game changer. It's like not like up there with the great comic book movies, but I feel like it's like right under those and like the really, really freaking good ones.
I generally just thought it was a very forgettable movie.
Don't listen to this guy.
I'm sorry.
Either way, people are going to be pleased with this movie because it ain't as bad as either DC
Yes,
movies.
and that's the thing, is it's the first DC movie that really it was tolerable to watch.
It wasn't a mess. It wasn't throwing in references here. Hell, there was like barely any references to anything in this movie. It was very just like, it's a Wonder Woman story.
I might sound like I'm like panning this movie or something. I didn't think it was a bad movie. It's just average and didn't do a lot for me personally. It's a movie that I wouldn't, like if I had to rewatch this, I wouldn't be like, oh god, I'm miserable. But it's not a movie that I would ever intentionally go and rewatch.
I can't wait to rewatch this movie. Actually, I'm really looking forward to watching it again. I am really happy because I am a huge DC fan. I like DC and Marvel equally, but if I had to choose one, if I really had to, I would give the edge to DC, just because I grew up with it more, and like, I don't know, I'm just more invested in DC stories. So to finally have a good DC movie just makes me so happy.
I'm on kind of like even ground with both Marvel and DC. I was never a comic book reader. I don't lean toward either one. I just watch the movies as they come.
Like the DC Comics characters, especially Batman and Superman, like those were my childhood, my early childhood. So like I have a lot more affection towards that. So to finally see a DC movie that's not Batman or Superman be good is such a good feeling. Makes me so happy.
I just like corny superhero movies. I like Spider-Man 2.
Wow, Spider-Man 2 is phenomenal. That's one of the best comic movies.
Those are the kind I like. I don't like war movies.
There actually is a lot of corny stuff in this movie too, surprisingly enough.
But like the tone kind of clashes.
One of the kind of problems actually that I forgot to mention was there's two other main villains throughout the course of this movie. Since like Ares, you don't want to get to until the end, and there's one villain who every time he takes this like pill kind of thing that gives him makes him like stronger. That was super freaking silly, and I didn't like that. It just looked silly. But the scientist character, she was the most interesting character out of the two of them. She wasn't the one that was focused on.
Yeah, she was the most interesting of the three. I don't think she was anything that special.
Yeah, but she should have been the one that was focused on more than the other guy.
Yeah. I thought all of them were a little sort of cheesy.
To me, it hit all the right notes. Again, it wasn't the best, of course. I've said my problems, but I thought it was freaking phenomenal and miles above the other DC films. And I really hope I'm not getting my hopes up for Justice League because it's another Zack Snyder movie and the trailers look just like Batman vs Superman. But I hope DC movies moving on from here will be more in line with Wonder Woman. Again, not really hopeful for Justice League, but like Aquaman's next, and I hope that follows suit with Wonder Woman. So out of 10,
5, I guess.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. This is the highest rating I've given a movie since friggin' Logan. This is probably our most divisive review. Like, we always thought Day of the Dead was our most divisive review since he loves that movie and I just think it's really good. But this is probably our most divisive review we've ever done on this channel.
Yeah, probably.
The biggest tone, like, switch in ratings.
Yeah, which is still only 3, but like
Yeah, but like...
we've never had a movie where you absolutely love it and I absolutely hate it. We still need to find that movie.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that movie. We have to find one of those.
I'm excited.
When that day comes, it's going to be great. But this is another really weird, awkward review because it's like...
Man, we don't 100% agree.
No, not by a long shot on this.
I have a feeling though when Justice League comes out, we'll probably be a little closer on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'll go into it like open-minded. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
I've given all these movies, but I don't have much hope. So yeah, that's Wonder Woman. There are some spoilery things that I guess we should talk about, so we're going to save that for another video, our spoiler talk.
Yep.
So until then, we will see you guys later.